Travis Kelce going full on MAGA, coming out in full force. Well, pretty good force considering who his significant other is, for none other than Donald Trump. Here's the article in Vanity Fair. Oh my gosh, everybody is freaking out. Everybody's freaking out. Donald Trump going to the Super Bowl. And like, what? No one's going to protest? Not even the Eagles? I mean, the Eagles. Don't forget them, the Philadelphia Eagles. Remember how they wouldn't even stand for the national anthem back in 2018? Well, Trump's going to be there. And I have just a little teeny tiny feeling that, there's a reason he is rooting for these guys.
That's awesome. It's a great honor. I think, no matter who the president
is. It's awesome. It's a great honor. No matter who the president is, he's the president of the United States, for goodness sakes. So Donald Trump is out tweeting about this, or I should say, what are we saying? Xing about this? Actually, he's truthing about this on Truth Social, his own platform. Take a look. 2 great quarterbacks in this game. Also an unbelievable running back and the absolute best tight end in football ever. That would be you, Travis. Okay, incredible coaching. If they could only get rid of that really weird looking new kickoff deal, which actually makes football more dangerous, they would be doing everybody, especially the fans, a big favor. Anyway, it will be a great game. I'll be doing the interview before the game at 3 p.m. There hasn't been one in 4 years. Gee, I wonder why. Gee. Biden couldn't do that. Biden couldn't do a lot of things, all right? Let's be honest. We're very lucky that Biden is not there anymore. We're very lucky that Kamala Harris didn't get the gig because, well, I don't think we could have sat through. I don't know about you. I don't know as I could have kept doing the show for 4 years if I had to listen to that. I mean, listen, I've been pretty patient for the last 4 years with none other than Biden. I don't know as I could have done 4 with Kamala. So why is Trump backing the Chiefs? Well, I think it's pretty simple. Remember in 2018, as I was saying earlier, you had the Philadelphia Eagles that wouldn't even stand for the national anthem. I mean, when did it become so popular and so cool and so acceptable to be so anti-American? It's been sort of this evolution, right? I think it started back with the Obamas and Michelle Obama not being proud to be American. I mean, she's so not proud that she wouldn't even go to Jimmy Carter's funeral. She wouldn't even go to the White House for the inauguration. Well, there may be something separate going on there, as in the marriage itself. But you know what? I'm sorry. You are an American first. Whether you like it or not, Michelle, you're part of history, right? You were the first lady there for 8 years. You should show up at these big events, even if Barack isn't doing what you want him to do. Anyway, I would just say that Donald Trump made a stand against the Philadelphia Eagles back then. And look, he's a politician. He loves Philadelphia. He loves Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania voted for him. But he's partial, dare I say. He's partial to someone else. And that would be Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he said it, right? There in the tweet. That's what we saw. So the Swifties are really mad about all this stuff. It's hard for them to take because the Golden Girl has not exactly been very pro-Trump. I mean, perhaps she can't. Did you ever think of that? I mean, given what we're learning about U.S. aid and all the money that was going towards the propaganda, it's like if you were in Hollywood, you didn't stand a chance. That's why we have to actually stick up for the few people that are willing to get out there in front of these stories. Anyway, they are outraged. Oh my gosh, how could Travis Kelce praise Donald Trump? How could he possibly say something? I know you have to turn up your volume on this one a little bit because it was one of those clips that somebody caught on their cell phone. But again, Travis Kelce, how could she stand Travis Kelce after he dared to praise, imagine that, Donald Trump for coming to the Super Bowl? Yeah, he's proud to play in front of the president because you know what? The guy's an American.
That's awesome. It's a great honor. I think, no matter who the president is, I know I'm excited because it's the biggest game of my life, and having the president there, it's the best country in the world. So it'd be pretty cool.
Taylor Swift comes out against Trump.
I don't care if they write that. I'm sad that I did.
Yeah, you remember that? You remember that. So she kind of courted this. She was out there really, really, really anti-Trump. Don't forget the campaign she launched against One Marsha Blackburn. Senator Blackburn still won her election despite Taylor's efforts. So the Swifties, they're a force, but when it comes to politics, I don't know if they're entirely there with her. Maybe she's playing both sides. She's got this boyfriend that's obviously pretty magnanimous, and he's an American first kind of guy, and his best friend, Patrick Mahomes, is quarterback. His wife is pro-Trump. Here she is. I want to play it again. Taylor Swift being uber anti-Trump in that documentary she did.
Taylor Swift comes out against Trump.
I don't care if they write that. I'm sad that I didn't 2 years ago, but I can't change that. I'm saying right now that this is something that I know is right, and you guys, I need to be on the right side of history, and if he doesn't win, then at least I tried.
Taylor, here's the problem.
I just want to read you what I wrote, and I'm going to try to start. I just really want you to know that this is important to me.
I
and this
totally
is something
agree with the issue, but
have
let
you
me explain
heard
to you.
her?
Okay, so she's kind of courted it, shall we say. So the fans, when they heard Travis say what he did, that he's proud to have the president there, that it should be great, right? They're going, a great honor? Run, Taylor Swift, run. Like, get out of the relationship. They want her to break up with like the only guy that seemingly is sort of like a stable relationship for her. And I have my own perspective on that. I don't totally believe it. But you know what? Hey, let's go with it for today. We're going into the Super Bowl weekend. And this one says he's going to be grounded when he gets home. And then another one says, so sad to see my girl surrounded by so many bad company like Blake Lively, Brittany Mahomes, and now her own boyfriend, Taylor. Girl, you better run. Her own boyfriend, her best friend, blah, blah, blah. Quick shout out, by the way, before we get to all that for 76 Research. If you haven't subscribed yet, this is my research company, financial research. This is a hard turn, right? But we're going back to Brittany, we're going back to Blake, and we're going back to Taylor in just a second, and the Super Bowl. But I just want to tell you about this because, the market has been on fire. There's all this optimism about Donald Trump, and I want you to have a chance to partake in it. We have model portfolios there at 76 Research that you can subscribe to. In fact, we're making a change. We're adding a new stock, actually, to the income builder portfolio that's happening over the weekend. So try to get in on this while you can right now. You can get just the 76 report, the basic one, for just $1 a month. Just $1 with code word dollar for the first 2 months for a limited time. Then it goes to $9.95. But limited time offer, my gift to you for Super Bowl weekend anyway, $1. And it sure beats that. Sure beats the Politico subscription. Did you see that? They wanted $10,000 and the government, of course, paid it. More on that coming up. But keep in mind, of course, Taylor Swift is all about her career, and her fan base is not too happy with this. So what is she going to do with that? I'm not sure. I think that she actually rides it and she plays it, and she's playing both sides of the coins to a certain extent, right? Because she's got Travis there who seemed pretty kind of MAGA-ish lately. I mean, he ought to get on board, right? Everybody else is. And then you've got the friends, Brittany Mahomes, who's clearly, one of her good friends, but it became awkward last year. Remember that? Because Taylor came out endorsing Joe Biden. Oh, this was good. Take a look at this, guys. Here she says, I spoke to VM Magazine about why I'll be voting, I guess that would be Vogue, right, for Joe Biden for president. So apt that it's come out on the night of the VP debate, going to be watching and supporting Kamala Harris by yelling at the TV a lot. I also have some custom cookies, Biden 2020. So that was back in 2020. And then she came out for Kamala, of course, in 2024. And it's like, I kind of wondered, did she have to do this? Like, is this the deal? You want to be in Hollywood? This is the price of admission. I think to a certain extent, you see all of these actors that, by the way, are getting paid. I mean, clearly there's something going on. Oprah Winfrey, per the New York Times, getting $2 million for that sit-down interview with Kamala Harris. And we've learned about, all kinds of things that I'm going to get into. We're talking $8 million versus subscriptions. You just heard me mention it to Politico that were like built in. I want to know who signed that contract. Seriously. Like, that person should be investigated. We deserve our money back, do we not? I mean, they spent like $70 billion in 23 and 30 or 40 billion the year before, all this US aid stuff. And it's going to all these bizarre places, including places like the New York Times, Politico, the BBC. I mean, come on. So bought and paid for media. And so you wonder to a certain extent, like these Hollywood celebs, like they don't have a choice, right? I'm not giving Taylor there's no excuses here. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, think about what a big freaking deal it is for some of her friends like Brittany Mahomes to come out as she did, or even her boyfriend, Travis, saying, this is a great honor to have the president there. Like, it takes a certain amount of bravery because you have the entire world trying to shut you down. Look, I've been there, done that, been part of cancel culture. I can tell you what that's like. It's not fun. Okay, but you kind of just have to believe in something bigger. Reminder to subscribe and share and like and comment and all that stuff. We're growing. It's all thanks to you. What are we up to? Like 560 some odd thousand subs. So it's really, really incredible. Thank you for all that you do. It means a lot. Like it really, 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 really means a lot. And I appreciate that. And I want to thank, by the way, Greg Williams. Thank you for your generosity. I am so glad that you love the show. And he wants to know when I'm going to the White House. That'll happen. You know what? We're gonna get the big guy on the show. That'll happen. Trust me. And he's got a lot to say, a lot on taxes right now. A lot. And I want to get to that too, because it's really, really important that we get some of this tax reform. But again, task at hand here. We got Taylor Swift, who's been, part of the system, but some of her friends are out there doing the right thing, like a Brittany Mahomes being really, really brave. And you know what? Donald Trump doesn't forget that. He remembers his friend, shall we say. He had a special message for the Mahomes family. Take a look. Congrats to the Chiefs. Great, in all capital letters. Great quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, and his very beautiful and brilliant wife. Brilliant, because she's always liked him, right? Brittany, on the birth of their new baby daughter, Golden Ray. This is what I call a baby with great genes, both mother and father. It's happy times in the wonderful Mahomes family. See y'all on Sunday. You know what? It's good to be an American. It is good to be a Trump supporter and to believe in America right about now. And look at this wonderful, beautiful family. Some posts that they put out. Brand new addition to the family. And so, look, Donald Trump is rooting for one team. And I know this is touchy, okay? Look, I grew up in New England, in New Hampshire. So we used to watch the Patriots a lot. The Patriots, they had all that scandal, remember, with the ball scandal with Tom Brady and oh my goodness. Anyway, Bill Belichick, by the way, you want to talk May, December? Bill Belichick and the girlfriend, who, by the way, might be trying to give Lauren Sanchez a run for her money, right? Like with the outfits that she was wearing last night, I saw. And I guess Snoop Dogg really lit into them and went after the May, December there. 48 years. 48 years. Now, I'm no prude, okay? Like, whatever. But that's a little much. Like, that's like really, really, really too much. It's kind of gross. But whatever. You know what? To each his own. I'm kind of libertarian in that sense. You go, Bill Belichick. You know what? Keep it up. Is her name Jennifer? Like, I don't know if she's going to be able to top the Lauren Sanchez brassiere at the White House on Inauguration Day, but she certainly seems to be trying. Anyway, truth be told, the country is shifting. Things are changing. And so, yeah, I grew up a Patriots fan. My husband still loves the Buffalo Bills, so, this is hard for him. Very, very hard for him. But if I have a choice right now between the Eagles and I'm sorry to all the Eagles fans, but I think there's a lot of reasons to kind of like this team. Donald Trump, you see they're reporting on this everywhere. The Daily Beast is so annoyed that Donald Trump is like sending a message to Brittany and to Patrick ahead of the Super Bowl. They're just, they're annoyed at anything he does because, now suddenly they're going to hate football because Donald Trump is becoming the first president in the history of the United States of America to actually attend a Super Bowl. Who knew? I'm sort of surprised by this. I was like, wait a second, didn't Obama ever? Nope, Obama did not. So that struck me as rather interesting and rather cool that he's doing this because, hey, there's something very Americana, is there not, about Super Bowl Sunday? And there's no more Americana than the Make America Great Again president, one Donald Trump. So he is becoming the first sitting president to attend the Super Bowl. Another history of firsts. First. I wonder what's going to happen. Are the Philadelphia Eagles going to kind of freak out? I mean, are people in the stand going to freak out? Is he going to get booed? Is he going to... You wonder, because you think of what everybody has been through. I mean, you think about all these canceled performers. You think about how the Philadelphia Eagles wouldn't even stand for the national anthem. I mean, heck, they weren't even playing the national anthem. At the game in New Orleans recently, I couldn't believe that. ESPN didn't even show it. Or maybe they played it, but they wouldn't even show it. Like, you guys, I mean, really, like, remember all the opportunity you have and where it comes from. This great nation. They tried to cancel Carrie Underwood because Carrie Underwood sang at the inauguration. Think of that. I mean, you had Ariana Grande throwing her all this shade. You had Joy Behar going on and on. Well, listen, somebody's got to cancel Joy Behar. Thank you very much. I mean, Disney, this woman is a liability along with Whoopi and a few others on there. But remember this.
I hope we're moving beyond the era of politics where we want to cancel people's livelihoods because we don't like their politics. And whether it was the Dixie Chicks for criticizing George Bush, didn't agree with it then, and Carrie Underwood, if you have a problem, you register your complaint by not downloading her songs and not going to her shows. Right. But I also think from a business standpoint, it's not a bad decision for Carrie Underwood. 75 million people voted for Trump. Artists tend to skew left-leaning, so she's overnight going to become an icon of MAGA and the American right. She's probably going to make a lot of money off of it. So I get why she did it.
I say.
I mean, right? It is country music. I think
I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't do it, even though I can't sing.
You would not sing?
No, I would not. I would not normalize him. And she says, I love our country. How do you love your country and support and normalize somebody who was a convicted felon who really wants to destroy the country, in my opinion? I don't understand how you say you love your country at the same time as you normalize this convicted felon, which I can say now every day.
A lot of my family voted for Trump. They love the country and vote for him. I think that people make these decisions for a lot of reasons.
Okay, fine.
No, you do what you do. Listen.
Oh, yeah, okay. And then there's Whoopi Goldberg, who must be in the middle of contract negotiations trying to save her tail because she suddenly says, oh, like, it's okay. Look, they were trying to cancel Carrie Underwood. And the next thing you knew, all of a sudden, like, there were contestants on American Idol and other producers that were like, we don't know if we can actually be on this show with Carrie Underwood as a judge because she clearly must love Trump because she sang at the inauguration. I mean, what a jerky thing to do. Again, I go back to this because it's a big deal what Travis Kelce is doing, just, saying, hey, just saying the obvious, right? Like, this is an honor. Like, it's a respectful thing to say. And they're like, they're going to be all over him. Just like they were all over Carrie Underwood. The respectful thing to do when you're asked to sing at the inauguration is to say yes. You know who got this? Kid Rock. He sang it at an inauguration for somebody he didn't vote for because guess what? He's an American first.
I was actually listening to your show a little bit before I got in the truck here, and I heard, Michelle Obama's not attending. I would kindly remind her that years back, when Obama was first elected, I did not vote for him, but they asked me to play the inauguration, and I played it, and I went. Had a good time. I went for out of respect to the presidency, so I would kindly remind Miss Michelle about that.
I forgot about that, and that's cool because it's really not about the politics. It's about the office, and you got to respect it.
Boom! You've got to respect it, okay? So they are the ones that started this. Don't forget Maxine Waters with her "Not My President," AOC with "Not My President." Don't forget Jimmy Carter. He's not a legitimate president. He was put there by the Russians, which of course Hillary Clinton picked up on. We're going to have more on that in just a moment because that was all orchestrated. That was all deliberate. But here's a young woman that's going to be singing this weekend. I want to introduce you to somebody named Lauren Daigle. You may not know her. You may know her. I don't know. But you're going to know a lot about her very, very soon. soon. This is Lauren Daigle, and she is probably the biggest deal Christian singer we have in America right now, okay? Just a wonderful, wonderful voice, beautiful girl, and she wasn't allowed to sing in New Orleans at a New Year's Eve Rockin' Eve thing, Dick Clark Productions thing, because the mayor thought she wasn't really representative because, you see, she was a Christian singer, and after she had done some Christian tour event, the mayor, that would be this lady, Latoya Cantrell, who's got all kinds of issues, including some that are very similar to, dare I say, Fannie Willis. More on that. Anyway, she canceled her from singing. She wrote a letter to the producers, reportedly of Dick Clark Productions, and said, no, you can't have this woman sing. So Lauren didn't get her opportunity, but guess what? She's going to be singing. She's from Lafayette, Louisiana. She's going to be singing in New Orleans this Sunday, America the Beautiful, and I'm so happy for her. And again, if you don't know her, you sure will. You will by Sunday. You know what, Latoya, you're going to have to eat your words here. Again, this is Latoya Cantrell, who is the mayor of New Orleans, who prevented Lauren from singing, but she's got all kinds of issues herself. Apparently, very similar to Fannie Willis, a alleged relationship with her bodyguard that caused his divorce. But, anyway, I'll let her explain. It's just because she's a black woman of power, apparently. That's why they're going after her on this one.
As it relates to, I got this question before, but what I will say, as it relates to investigations, or targeting, all of that, as I've given it thought, when I came in, even being elected mayor, and even prior to that on the city council, I've been a center of countless investigations, right? And I have always complied, and that's what I'll continue to do. I do know that this seems to be kind of prevalent relative to black leadership, and I think that I'm not exempt from that. But relative to investigations, I've been in them, I've been through them, and I'll continue to comply however they come. That's all I have to say on that.
That's all she's gonna say, okay? She's had a few little run-ins, dare I say. Allegedly paying some $30,000 of taxpayer monies for some round-trip tickets to Europe, first class. There was that, and then she was caught yelling and flipping the bird at riders on a parade float at Mardi Gras who turned their back on her. And they said, gosh, we've never seen a mayor behave like that. But yes, she's the one who was able to get Lauren canceled from a big engagement. This came up on a recent podcast. I want to play a clip from this show, the podcast from a producer, actually turned talent now over at Fox, Ray Arroyo.
Mayor came out and said, of you, that you placed residents in danger. And then she urged Dick Clark Productions. You were supposed to sing at the Rockin' New Year's Eve celebration from New Orleans. They bumped you off the roster. You weren't invited.
Yeah, I was definitely not invited. And I think from that letter, too, she quoted, she's a weapon to society. And I went home to Lafayette and I got in my parents' bed and I pulled the covers over my head. As an adult, I was like, oh gosh, here we are again. Because there's no amount of public ridicule that is fun. What I learned is that when people need an element of hope, coming together is one of the most beautiful things. It is one of the most incredible rights that we have in this country. It is. And I think to take that away from people is so disheartening, especially in a time like that.
Do you feel vindicated?
Yes.
5 years later, and here you are, about to open on one of the biggest stages in the world at the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So to get this moment years later, I would say for anybody watching that has had their reputation smeared in any sort of way, and they are just waiting for the moment of vindication, sometimes it only takes 5 years.
terrific. You know what? I got like chills. I really did. I got chills. I feel like I've been vindicated too, because you know what? I went out there in 2020, March of 2020, the market's like tanking 2,000 points in a day, and Anderson Cooper's on CNN with the whole red thing going as though it's like the missing plane, and they made that story into the missing plane. And I'm not taking away anything from how scary that was and awful that was. And look, I lost loved ones to COVID, and I also lost loved ones who did not go in and get their necessary checks that they should have gotten. My uncle, for example, who should have been in for a skin cancer check and something that could have been pretty routine, but wouldn't go because of COVID and everything was shut down. So, I think we've all had a horrible time with that. A lot of people lost their businesses, right? A lot of people lost their jobs, and we've been trying to climb back ever since. And one of the biggest frustrations I had throughout all of it was the lack of information, the inability to report the truth. And I want to talk about that coming up in just a moment, because look, the New York Times was getting some nearly $50 million so that, we wouldn't report the truth, right? They were just reporting what HHS wanted them to say and report. And the spigot's been turned off. And Elon has done that with Trump. And it's the right thing. Let's shed some sunlight on this, right? They say it's the best disinfectant, because to think that we couldn't even report. And by the way, I knew in February of 2020 through sources that virus had come out of the Wuhan lab, okay? I knew that. People very much within the so-called deep state, Asian scholars, etc., they knew that. And when Donald Trump was asked about it in April, May of 2020, and he said, yeah, I've seen some intelligence that suggests it could have come out of the Wuhan lab. What do you know? Everybody went nuts. Mainstream media. He was canceled immediately. Like immediately. Unbelievable. So Lauren Daigle, I am so happy for you. I am so happy for anyone that has bounced back from that horrible time. And I'll tell you this, we can come together, and we will come together. Because it's the right thing for us, it's the right thing for our children and our grandchildren, and we are going to make America great again. Whether they like it or not, it's happening, baby.